Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Hiking Journal. In this edition, I take a quick solo hike out to the Santa Rosa Plateau Ecological Reserve. It just recently reopened after recovering from a devastating fire that ripped through here a few years ago, and then right after that, COVID hit and it closed the reserve. The reserve just opened a few days ago, and I was excited to get a chance to see what changed and how the winter rains affected the vernal pools. The Santa Rosa Plateau Ecological Reserve is located at the southern end of the Santa Ana Mountains in southwest Riverside County, near the city of Murrieta. Consisting of 9,000 acres, the reserve protects unique ecosystems such as the Engelmann oaks, the woodlands, the riparian wetlands, the coastal sage scrub, the chaparral, the bunch grass, the prairie grass, and the vernal pools as well. There's also 200 species of native birds and 49 endangered or threatened or rare animal and plant species, including mule deer, mountain lions, badgers, bobcats, western pond turtles, white-tailed kites, and fairy shrimp. Of the two species of fairy shrimp that live in the seasonal vernal pools on the reserve, one is only found here and nowhere else on Earth. An especially popular day hike destination in the reserve is the Moreno and Machado Adobe, the two oldest standing structures in Riverside County, which date all the way back to 1846 and once served as bunkhouses for the cowboys. These interesting historical buildings are shaded by a 400-year-old oak tree. Let me get a good and close-up look at that later. And it's also separating the one-of-a-kind picnic area that provide a unique opportunity to experience Riverside County's rich history. Now, I've done a couple of videos on the Santa Rosa Plateau over the years, so let's just dive right into the trail as I start up into the reserve on a cool, cloudy morning. Well, good morning and welcome back to another edition of the Journal. Today I'm out here, and I guess this would be Murrieta, California, at the Santa Rosa Plateau Ecological Reserve. And I've been here many times, but what makes it interesting this time is that it's been closed for about 3 years. A big fire ripped through here a few years ago, did significant damage to the plateau, and then COVID hit. And there's a lot of volunteer docents that work here to kind of keep people honest, to keep them on the trail, to preserve the nature out here. And they were having a tough time finding volunteers. So believe it or not, it opened Friday, just less than a week ago. So I've seen some trip reports that the vernal pools were open, which are over this direction, and I'm really excited about that. I haven't been there in years. Me and Lindsay came out here, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, I guess, and so it's going to be popular today. It is a Monday, so it shouldn't be that busy, and it was 75 degrees, 80 degrees the last 2 days, and today June looms back, so it's going to be a cloudy and dreary and drizzly day. It was actually drizzling on me on the way up here, and the wind's blowing, so I'm actually a little chilly, so I got to get going. It's going to be about a 5-6 mile hike. I want to go up the it's called the Lomas Trail on all trails, and we're going to veer off to the Adobe, the vernal pools, and do a lap around the vernal pools and work our way up to the Adobe, which is the oldest building in Riverside County. So anyway, that'll all be coming up next in this edition of the Journal. The Santa Rosa Ecological Reserve coming up next. Well, this little fuzzy thing is a woolly pod milkweed. And this pretty purple flower is called the winecup clarkia. Sure is pretty out here today, even though it is gloomy. Well, as I'm hiking across the plateau here, I just ran into a really nice family. They were up here going on a little hike, and I had stopped to look at some of the wildflowers and video some of the wildflowers, and I kind of told them, I said, hey, just so you know, check out the Seek app. It's free, and it tells you what all these flowers are. And they were laughing because they said they had just thought of that. And they go, I wish there was an app that would tell you. And so now they know. So he downloaded it while I was standing there. And maybe today they'll be able to look some stuff up. But anyway, you can see how gorgeous it is out here in the meadows in the Santa Rosa Preserve. And this is also a popular location for field trips for schools, especially to the vernal pools. It's very educational, and both my kids had come out here on field trips when they were in elementary school, and just as I was walking away from the Jeep, school bus pulled in right behind me. So it was full too, so looks like a bunch of kids are going to enjoy the first week of opening here on the Santa Rosa Plateau. And not only are they going to get an education on what actually lives and grows out here in the plateau, they're going to get to go to the Vernal Pools. That's really special. There's not too many vernal pools in California, and it's fortunate that we have one so close to us here in the southern western portion of Riverside County. And the other thing that's going to be interesting today is, hopefully, cross our fingers, there's a ton of wildlife out here. You know, there's no hunting, there's no fishing, there's nothing like that out here. So, and it's large, a very large preserve. There's mountain lions, bobcats, gray fox, red fox, coyotes. Just saw a trip report. There was quite a few tarantulas out and about. Of course, that was a sunny day. And of course, obviously, there's a ton of snakes out here. There's a rattlesnake warning sign at the trailhead. And I myself personally have seen gopher snakes and racers out here. So I don't think they're going to be out today just because of the overcast and the cool. But you know, maybe if it opens up a little bit, you never know. So anyway, I want to continue walking through part of the reserve. I want to work my way over to the Adobe Trail and head over to, not the Adobe Trail, head over to the Vernal Pools Trail and check that out. There's also Engelmann oaks here. I've talked about those in the past. And I know they're here because I can see them from here. So we'll talk about that when we get over there. There's also a ton of poison oak. Anyway, that'll be here in a few minutes. In the meantime, I want to look up some more flowers here. And here's a few splendid Mariposa lilies. Never seen these before. There's a few of them here, growing on this hillside. And a few more over on this side. Well, here's our first glance at the California poppy flower that's named as the state flower in the state of California. And then, of course, right behind it is the prickly pear cactus. And the one cactus back there looks like it's in bloom. Other ones are getting ready. Not quite there yet. We'll enjoy the California poppy, and as it gets a little warmer in the day and more sunlight comes out, you'll see these open up. And here's a nice little patch of lupine. You see these quite often along the trail. As I'm working my way over to the Vernal Pools. You know, I just realized something. I'm not on the Lomas Trail at all. You know, I just went to the spot where I normally go and parked in the normal place, Hidden Valley Trailhead, and walked up the road, making a right. It's called the Hidden Valley Cutoff. And I'm working my way kind of willy-nilly toward the Vernal Pools. I want to see the Vernal Pools first, and then eventually work my way to the Adobes. So anyway, this was called the Cutoff. There's a sign right here. It says Los Santos Trail to the Vernal Pools. So that's where I'm going, to the Vernal Pools. So I'm going to be heading up this way, and hopefully I'll get a good peek at those Engelmann oaks up here. I want to see some wildlife. Well, this is a great view of the broad expanse, the Santa Rosa Plateau. That's what makes this special. All of these acres untouched, except for a few use trails cut here and there, so we can all enjoy it. There's some more those Mariposa lilies, and those little spider web looking things. I think those are funnel web spiders. They build a funnel that heads down. Animals, little bugs get in there and they fall down into the bottom of the web, get trapped. I hope I see a fox or something today. People said that they saw deer just 2 days ago. And I did bring my binocular today, so even if it's way off in the distance, I should be able to get a pretty good view. Well, as I'm working my way south on this trail, I came across this magnificent oak tree. This could very well be one of the Engelmann oaks. I can't pull it up on the Seek Outside app to verify it, but I'm sure when I get home I'll be able to identify it, and it looks like one to me. And here's another angle of this beautiful oak tree. There's also a big bird's nest up there. You know, even though it's cold and dreary and a little drizzly, temperature-wise, it's actually about right. I'm not cold at all. And I imagine once I stop and get a good view, and I slow down, I'll probably start to chill a little bit. I didn't bring a rain shell or a wind shell or anything, but I should be fine, and I have that cup of coffee. I've been talking about it for a couple episodes now, and I actually brought everything today, so maybe today's the day. Sounds good right now. You know, if you've never been out here to the Santa Rosa Plateau, you're really missing something. This is a phenomenal area. And even though I haven't seen any wildlife today, they're out here. Big patch of cactus over there. I'm kind of hoping the sun comes out a little bit. It makes it a little more enjoyable. But hiking up these hills, it's kind of nice having that cool breeze. Anyway, what a tremendous view. Vernal Pools are right around the corner. Well, I finally worked my way up the Los Santos Trail from Hidden Valley Road, and I came up. This is the actual Vernal Pool Trail, and the trailhead is right back there. So if you didn't want to do what I did and hike cross country and go up and over the ridge lines, you could park down there right at the Vernal Pools trailhead. And it's a really short trail right to the Vernal Pools. That's what a lot of the schools do for their field trips, and you can see there's a school bus there now. And this trail is very wide and very well maintained, and it's mostly level. And I'm going to say it's ADA compliant. If you had a wheelchair, you could probably push somebody in a wheelchair over this path all the way to the Vernal Pool. So that's what makes this part of the preserve special. The Vernal Pool. All right, well, here are the Vernal Pools. Famous Vernal Pools. There is a boardwalk that leads out around the pools. We're going to take a walk out here. Now, there's not water in these pools year-round. It's only seasonal. Some seasons it's better than others. But there are certain types of fish and amphibians that live in this seasonal area that makes it special. And to protect it, they've got this boardwalk they've built. And I'm sure months ago, this boardwalk was probably just about underwater, I would imagine. There's all kinds of fish that live in these muddy waters. Frogs and toads and salamanders, snakes. Birds love all the insects that fly around here. There's always a large bird population here. You'll see egrets out here from time to time. Look at that bird right there. Black with the orange wings. Well, this is the famous Vernal Pool out here in Murrieta, the Santa Rosa Ecological Reserve. It's a very interesting place. It's great for school kids to come and learn about the environment. Maybe we'll get lucky and see an egret. Well, I made it out here to the Vernal Pools. I did a loop along the boardwalk here, took in some magnificent views of some of the wildlife out here, and now I'm going to be heading this direction over to the Adobes. And the Juan Machado Adobe is the oldest building in Riverside County, the oldest home in Riverside County. Dates back to the 1840s or 50s, I believe. I guess we'll find out here in a minute. It's about a mile away up and over this hill. And take in some scenic views of the Adobe, and there I'll stop and take a break. Finally get a chance to make my coffee. Sounds pretty good right now. Now that I'm not hiking, it's just cooling down a little bit. Out here in the Santa Rosa Plateau. Haven't really stopped to take a break or anything, and I'm looking forward to maybe seeing some wildlife. You know, the Adobe's a good spot. Last time I was there, I saw some acorn woodpeckers and a whole bunch of squirrels and a rabbit or two, and who knows, maybe I'll finally get a chance to see my snake there. Who knows? Just another example of how vast the Santa Rosa Preserve is out here at the plateau. I've seen maybe 3 groups of people, maybe 7, 8 people total. It looks like the sun is finally starting to work its magic. It's trying to come through. I'm only a half mile from the Adobes. In fact, check this out. Here's our tarantula hawk right here. That's a pretty big one. Look at the bright colors on him. All right, well, here comes one of our school field trip groups, working its way up toward the Vernal Pools from the Adobe. All right, well, here is the entrance to the Adobe. If you've never taken a trip out here to the Santa Rosa Plateau, this is one of the highlights right here. Getting a glimpse at the one Merino Adobe. I said it called it one Machado. It's actually one Merino. It's been here since 1846. Let's go do a walk around. All right, this is one of the outbuildings here. The old original stone wall that was built here. It's probably what's left of the barn. Remnants of repair work they've probably done. The original Machado Adobe. It is Machado Adobe. I thought it was. It's right there. Well, the ranch home here, the one Machado Adobe, look at that, 1855. I'm sure it's been restored many times. And believe it or not, it looks a little more run down than I've seen it. I think the closure of the plateau and the lack of docents and volunteers to do the repair work have taken a little bit of a toll on it. It's a little more overgrown than I can remember, but wow, would you look at this tree. Just imagine how old this oak tree is. The Juan Machado Adobe.
Yum, yum. It's time for a tasty and refreshing snack. We promise to satisfy your hunger, your thirst, your sweet tooth. So visit our refreshment center now. Let's go!
Well, since I'm at the Adobe out here and Santa Rosa Preserve, I thought, you know, what a great spot to make a cup of coffee. So I'm going to grind some fresh coffee today. This is Trader Joe's Fair Trade Organic Sumatran coffee. I've got my coffee water brewing here on the old Snow Peak Gigapower stove. First, I got to grind some fresh coffee, so I'm going to pour some grounds inside my little portable grinder. Try not to spill any. And while I'm waiting for the coffee water to heat up, I'm going to grind some coffee. Now, you wouldn't take this on a backpack trip, but for a day hike, it's perfect. And on a nice cool day like today, with tremendous scenery in front of this magnificent oak tree, Santa Rosa Preserve, this is a perfect spot. So I'm going to be making my coffee today on my my AeroPress Go, which is the smaller version of the AeroPress. It's over there. I'll have to get that out here in a second, bring it over here, show it to you. Makes a really, really good cup of coffee in the backcountry. Grind until there's no more resistance left in this grinder. It won't take long to heat the water in that kettle. It's a really good kettle, and there's really no breeze to speak of. Just a little bit coming off this direction. That's why I've got the windscreen up. But as soon as this gets all ground up, it's getting pretty close. I'll get ready with my AeroPress Go and we'll fire it up, get some coffee brewing. Alright, so I got out the AeroPress Go, which is this right here. This is the coffee mug that comes with it. I'm going to actually be using this today. I'm pretty sure this will fit on there. Yeah, it looks like it will. So what I have to do is finish grinding. I think I'm pretty close here. Let's take a peek. There's a tiny bit left here. Give it a few more grinds. All right, so this is all done. All of my grounds are inside this little container. I'm gonna go ahead and pour this in. I'm gonna be making what they call the inverted method. It's a medium fine brew, and this is actually being placed upside down, technically. Actually, let me just set this in here for now so it doesn't blow over. I have to pour in about just enough water to coat it. Maybe a little bit more there. Use the included stir stick. You don't want to stir it in a circular motion. You want to just basically saturate the grounds. And we'll let that sit for a minute. And the next thing I'm going to do, don't need that anymore, is I'm going to pour my water back inside there, stir it, fill this all the way up to the top. I have just a little bit more water left in here. And once again, you don't want to stir it in a circular motion. You just want to kind of gently move the paddle back and forth so you don't disturb the crema any more than you have to. And you start at the bottom and slowly work your way to the top, and I can see what a gorgeous color this is. And what I've already done, I've already pre-wet the filter. The filter is going to go on top. And I'm going to let that sit and brew for about 1.5 minutes. Then when I come back, I'm going to press the coffee into this. All right, well, it's been about 1.5 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and press this into my coffee cup. This should take about 30 seconds. Hopefully I'll hear the hiss at the bottom, then I'll know I've pressed it correctly. All right. I can add a little more water. make this an Americano. And I don't know what kind of coffee you like, whether you want coffee with sweetener, creamer, or not. But you won't be able to probably see that inside there, but what a great cup of coffee this is going to be. Well, that's very rich. It's very rich and very strong. You can make basically an espresso. If you don't want to add water to this, it's basically an espresso. But it's going to be nice and refreshing here to have a nice warm cup of coffee on this cold day out here on the Santa Rosa Plateau Reserve. Well, as I'm enjoying my coffee here at the Juan Machado Adobe out here in Santa Rosa Plateau Reserve, also having my coffee that I brewed with the AeroPress Go. I'm enjoying my Built Bar, courtesy of my sister in Salt Lake. Been a nice, pleasant day. I haven't run into too many people. There's nobody here at the Adobe except me. And the sun is finally starting to clear in little patches. So it's been a good hike. I got about 2 miles to go to get back to the car. I'm basically just going to stay on the main road that leads all the way back from the Adobe to the main road where I parked at the entrance. Hidden Valley Trailhead, I think is what it's called. But anyway, this was kind of an unexpected. There's a squirrel. Like this. Oh, look, a squirrel. No, there really is a squirrel over there. And I'm surprised again that I have not seen any snakes or even a tarantula. But it could be the temperature, you know, the cloudy skies and the overcast, the June gloom. We are first week of June now, so. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the Yosemite video, the two-part Yosemite video that we shot. The first part was a hike up to Yosemite Falls, and the second one was our impromptu hike up the mist trail to Vernal Falls for me and Jerry. So anyway, coming up pretty soon, I'm going to be working as a I guess it's a forest fire lookout volunteer. So I'll be hiking up to one of the lookouts in the forest, and I'll be spending the day watching for wildfires from the fire lookout tower, which has been a pretty cool thing. I've been looking forward to that for years and years, so I'm finally going to break down and do it. And sounds like some people are finally showing up here at the Adobe. Well, that'll do it for this edition of the Hiking Journal, the Santa Rosa Plateau Ecological Reserve. In this edition, I examined some unique wildflowers on display, walked across the Vernal Pools, and took a peek at one of the oldest standing structures in Riverside County, the Juan Machado Adobe. I also brewed up a cup of fresh ground coffee before heading back to the Jeep. In the next edition of the Hiking Journal, I take a quick hike up into the Montserrat Mountain Preserve. This short but steep climb up to the summit of Montserrat Mountain recreates the stair climb firefighters made during the 9/11 disaster in New York, where they had to climb to the top of the 110-floor World Trade Center towers after terrorists crashed a jetliner into it. This hike is not only a great training hike, but a solemn reminder of the evil that exists in the world and makes you appreciate all the wonderful freedoms this country has to offer. That'll all be coming up in the next edition of the Journal. Oh, and one more thing, I've got something special in the works that I really can't talk about yet, but I'm excited to be able to finally give back to the forest community. I'll let you know more about it in a future edition of the Hiking Journal. Once again, be safe, stay cool this summer, and I'll see you down the trail. Bye-bye.